To you live from our studios at number 11, Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka, Accra. I am Adwoa Tenkoramaa Domena. Coming up, National Labour Commission unable to intervene in clock sack strike following the absence of a properly constituted negotiation committee.
With their cases, we facilitate settlement, but those that require the full complement of the committee, like a strike, to hear that one we can do it.
Also coming up, West African Examination Council WAEC to appeal court order for immediate release of WASI results.
We are going to repeat the stay of execution application at the Court of Appeal in line with what is established procedure in court matters. As for 28th, is for the generality of all outstanding results.
Still in the bulletin, Gregory Afoko granted bail to the tune of 500,000 Ghana cedis after nearly 10 years on remand, and later Parliament to implement intensified security measures as President Mahama prepares to deliver State of the Nation address on Thursday. Stay with us for details of these and more stories coming your way in the next half hour. Remember, the news is live across the globe on citinewsroom.com. Around the country, we are live on a number of affiliate stations. If you're in the Western region, tune in to Premier 100.5 FM in Takoradi, Beach 105.5 FM in Takoradi. In the Bunu region, you can find us on Green at 95.9 FM in Sunyani. In the Ashanti region, this is Orange 107.9 FM in Kumasi. In the Volta region, please tune in to Holy 98.5 FM in Aplawo. In the Northern region, we're on Dasuma 99.1 FM in Yendi. In Upper East, Word 88.3 FM in Zuarungu. And in Upper West region, this is Bugli Radio 88.6 FM in Wa. Please stay for details.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
We're grateful for your company this afternoon. Let's begin on the clock sack strike, and the National Labour Commission has urged the government to urgently reconstitute the commission to facilitate negotiations and resolve the ongoing strike by the Civil and Local Government Staff Association, CLOCSAG. Now, CLOCSAG has withdrawn its services in protest against the continued tenure of Samuel Adumboche as Registrar of the Births and Deaths Registry, forcing several ministries and government agencies, including Births and Deaths Registries, to shut down. Now, speaking to City News, the Executive Secretary of the Commission, Adwoa Tenkoramaa, said efforts to get the government to reconstitute the commission have been unsuccessful, and they called for urgent action to address this situation.
Yes, we have not been reconstituted, so we are unable to handle it. We have to treat it as a matter of agency and provide members for us to sit. We have written to them. We are waiting. We have still not received a response. With their cases, we facilitate settlement, but those that require the full complement of the committee, like a strike, to hear that one we can do. Okay. There are cases where we are able to facilitate settlement, but there are cases that will go before the committee. That one we can do.
That was the Executive Secretary of the National Labour Commission, Adwoa Tenkoramaa. Away from the NLC to WAEC now, the West African Examinations Council says it will appeal a stay of execution on the court ruling ordering the release of withheld West African Senior School Certificate Examination WASI results. Now, an Accra High Court dismissed WAEC's early application in a case filed by 4 students representing all affected candidates whose results were withheld over alleged irregularities and malpractices. Speaking to City News, WAEC's Head of Legal Affairs, Reverend Victor Brew, assured that the withheld results are still set for release on February 28, except for those directly involved in the court case.
We are going to repeat the stay of execution application at the Court of Appeal in line with what is established procedure in court matters. As for 28th, is for the generality of all outstanding results. And just to clarify that these are just a portion of all the outstanding results. So even as these 10,000 candidates went to court, we're still working. And even as they went to court, since others had not gone to court, not to say that it's because you didn't go to court, that's why we're working on your results, but to say that out of respect for the court, because these candidates had gone there, we kind of held on with yes, because they had gone to court. But the others, we have processed, released some results, cancel some results. Okay. And so 28th is a date to say that all results finally would have been worked on, and then perhaps the only group of people will be these students who took us to court, and we had to respect the court procedure.
So you heard the Reverend Victor Brew. He's the head of legal affairs at the West African Examination Council, WAEC. We'll stay on the court because Gregory Afoko has been granted bail for the first time since his 2015 arrest over the alleged murder of NPP's Upper East chairman, Adam Mahama. Now, the court set bail at 500,000 cedis with two sureties, one owning a landed property. Gregory Afoko's trial ended in a hung jury in 2023, leading to a retrial. I've been joined in studio by my colleague Fred Tete Jabano to walk us through the history of this particular case. Fred, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. What can you tell us about how far this case has traveled?
Adwoa, this case began somewhere. I mean, you trace this case all the way to 2014, during the time of Paul Afoko as chairman, as General Secretary. You recall that at the time there were issues in the party where some members of the party accused these two gentlemen of working against the party. Paul Afoko had his brother being Gregory Afoko. We are told by the prosecution in the case that somewhere in 2015 there was a meeting held by Paul Afoko in the Upper East region. That meeting was disrupted by the then regional chairman, the Upper East regional chairman of the NPP, Adams Mahama. This did not go down well with Gregory Afoko and the supporters of Paul Afoko. We are told that because of that, Gregory Afoko tried to approach the regional chairman, Adams Mahama, to question him and physically attack him. We are told by the prosecution, but he was prevented by the supporters of the regional chairman. Some few weeks later, we heard the news of the regional chairman who was attacked at his home, in front of his home, where acid was poured on him. He was rushed to Accra and passed away. After this, the police went in to arrest Gregory Afoko and one Absaki Alangi, whom he said to have allegedly conspired to take this action and murder or kill Adams Mahama.
But before you go on, was there a reasonable suspicion at that time to link Gregory to this particular?
So, according to the prosecution, the regional chairman at the time mentioned the name of Gregory Afoko and Asapke Alangi on his dead bed before he passed away. So it was part of the reasons why he was picked up. And when he was picked up, according to the evidence by the prosecution, you could see some substance believed to be acid in the house of Gregory Afoko. And there were other things, evidence the prosecution brought during the time. So this particular case, as you mentioned, began in 2015. It ran all the way to 2024. Whilst the case was being heard and tried in court, Gregory Afoko tried a number of times to get bail. He applied for bail a number of times, which were those bail applications were rejected.
Why?
Because initially the court did not believe that it was an appropriate time to grant him the bail. Also, it was the case of the prosecution that he could flee. Hence, they decided or objected to the bail. At the beginning of the case, the gentleman he is alleged to have conspired with, Asapke Alangi, was on the run. So for a long time, he was being tried in absentia before arrested and brought back to continue the trial. So the court at the time did not believe that Gregory Afoko would stay and continue the trial.
Why has the case traveled for so long?
Yes, it's a murder case. Sometimes you go to court, the case is adjourned. You go to court, lawyers are not available. You go to court, probably the judge is also not available. So it had gone for a very long time. In 2019, actually, Gregory Afoko had a bail granted him of 500,000, almost similar to this particular one, by a high court. but that bill was rescinded by another high court.
Why?
Because at the time, the prosecution and the court believed that Gregory Afoko was not safe. They were scared and afraid of the fact that if he's released, he could be attacked by someone or killed. So the court rejected that particular bill, or rescinded that particular bill, which was granted to him in 2024. Actually,
he's been granted bail. What does it look like going forward? If you can do this for us briefly.
So now he's been granted bail. The case has not been withdrawn. There's no nulli prosequa which has been filed. So the case would continue as normal. There is a jury which will be set up again. He'll go through the evidence and the state would bring their case. He would come up with his defense. Then the jury would have to now turn in their decision.
Right. Well, thank you so much for speaking with us. That's Fretete Jabano giving us that legal education on the Gregory Afoko issue. Let's move on to some other stories now. For several weeks, residents and businesses in the Ashanti region have been grappling with frequent power outages which have disrupted daily activities and economic operations. Now, the persistent blackouts have sparked frustration, raising concerns about the stability of electricity supply. The Public Relations Officer for the Ashanti West region of the ECG, Benjamin Obenyenchi, says the outages are not due to a power crisis, but rather a combination of technical faults, including faulty cables at some power distribution stations in the region.
Largely, the outages that we've experienced in the month of January and then the few months in February had to do with the fact that we suffered multiple underground cable faults. As I said, one at the main railway supply point, another one at the Achase substation, where we can locate the fault at Fumesua, where we have the CSIR building. Another also happened at our substation at airport. Another one also happened at our substation at Adwoa Tenkoramaa near the nuclear station around Abreport Junction. So you realize we had most of our cables being affected.
Well, he however stated that they are working on resolving the issues and making way for other transformers to support the increasing demand for power in the region.
We had also engaged Gridco last year to increase the capacity of their transformer at Ahomaso. So just last week we had to commission the 145 MVA over there together with Gridco to bring relief to our cherished customers, saying that even if there's any problem, we can transfer directly from Ridge to Ahomaso, and then the transformer they can take them. That's not the only transformer they are bringing. Again, they're also bringing the same 145 MVA to the Ridge box supply point to ensure that we are able to take care of the growing demands in Ashanti region. So,
you heard the Public Relations Officer for the Ashanti West Electricity Company of Ghana, Benjamin Obenyenchi, who stay a while longer in the Ashanti region because the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, in the Mampong Municipal Assembly has assured that support for victims of the recent rainstorm at Nintin will be provided by the end of February. Now, on Tuesday, February 18, a storm ripped off the roof of multiple buildings, including the Presbyterian Basic School, leaving students and residents stranded. Now, the NADMO director, Peter Kwejo Adumako, said an assessment identified about 20 affected structures. He added that the organization will work with the Member of Parliament and key stakeholders to provide relief for the victims.
And when we are on MP Swati, connected director, so
we have assessed the situation and will be meeting with the Member of Parliament and other stakeholders to determine the best way to assist the victims. We expect to provide some support by the end of the month.
Oh, by the 19th, at least by the end of this month,
You heard Peter Kwejo Adumako. He's director of the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, for the Mampong Municipal Assembly in the Ashanti region. You're still listening to the Citi Prime News. Still ahead in the bulletin, Parliament to implement intensified security measures as President Mahama prepares to deliver State of the Nation's address on Thursday. Please stay for details of this and more stories shortly.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
This March, we invite you to splash in the pool of cultural expressivity and soak yourself in the celebration of indigenous authenticity in our Heritage Month. Join us for the Heritage Month launch on Friday, February 28th, as we kick off a month of unforgettable experiences. Pack your bags for the Heritage Caravan, a week-long adventure across Ghana from March the 2nd to the 9th. Discover the beauty and history of our land.
An opportunity to see Ghana in a more beautiful, and the people, the connection.
Savor the flavors at the Back to Your Village Food Festival, a culinary extravaganza on March 29th and 30th.
The millet tozafi, the corn tozafi, we have the tubani, we have the wache, we have the dawadawa jollof rice. We also serve the local northern beverages. That's pito and zonko.
Taste the essence of Ghana.
The first one I was here, the second one I was here, the third one I was here, this one and the fourth one. And it's not just a bazaar, it's a festival now. And I'm so excited because this is what we should be doing.
Tune in to the Heritage On Air series on 97.3 Citi FM and Channel 1 TV. Each week, delve into what makes us Ghanaians.
Owusu is a general account name. It's Dev's character. Owusu. So that is why the appellation is Owusu Eduam. You see, when an Ashanti is Eduam, it means something that belongs to him. So Dev's character, he comes to you and grab you as if it belongs to him.
Explore our places of interest, feel the rhythm of our music, journey through our religious history, and indulge in indigenous Ghanaian food. Join us to celebrate our heritage this Heritage Month, where every moment is a story. Only on Channel 1 TV and 97.3 Citi FM.
Let's get the Hayford, Mensa Saba, Bagrant, Sagin Ajete, and all who.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Welcome to the bulletin again. Let's give you some more stories taking you to Parliament now. The Majority Leader Mahama Yarga has announced that Parliament will be implementing intensified security measures on Thursday, February 27, 2025, during President John Dramani Mahama's State of the Nation address. Now, in light of this, members of Parliament are required to be seated in the chamber by 9:15 a.m. as access will be restricted by national security after the President's arrival. Mahama Yarga made this known during the presentation of the business statement for next week to the House.
Article 67, and it says that the President shall, at the beginning of each session of Parliament and before a dissolution of Parliament, deliver to Parliament a message on the state of the nation. This is a constitutional injunction. The President would definitely be here to deliver the State of the Nation address. And members are expected to be seated latest 9:15 a.m. Please pay attention. Members are expected to be seated in the chamber latest 9:15 a.m. The clerk has also issued additional instructions which I want to bring to your attention. All honorable members are to be seated in the chamber 9:15 a.m. This is because once His Excellency the President enters the chamber, national security will not allow any member access into the chamber.
Majority Leader Mahama Yarga. Now, President John Dramani Mahama has urged Ghana's international partners to maintain their cooperation despite the recent suspension of U.S. aid. Speaking during an official visit by Deputy UK Prime Minister Angela Rayner, President Mahama highlighted the importance of continued support from global partners as Ghana faces challenges in accessing the international credit market. He also called for collaborative efforts to attract more investors.
We have a young, growing population, and so one of the major issues, and that came up strongly in the election, was the issue of jobs. And so working together to see how we can bring in more investments, especially considering that we're shut out of the international credit markets. We are living in a very unpredictable world where relations between countries are becoming very transactional, and we have the issue of the freeze in assistance from the United States. We're trying to make our own budgetary adjustments to make up for the shortfall of some 156 million odd US dollars. And so it's something that we can adjust the budget to fit. But it's my hope that the rest of our partners we'll continue to maintain the cooperation that we have, or even lift the level of cooperation so that we can continue to assess the vulnerable in our society.
You heard President John Dramani Mahama. Meanwhile, Deputy UK Prime Minister Angela Rayner also assured of a deepened partnership to support Ghana in creating jobs and achieving its 24-hour economy policy to improve living standards.
It's an absolute honour and a privilege to be here and to be one of the first to come over and to see you and your great election victory. And what struck me is your election was around a 24-hour economy, and we have a mutual aspiration for both the UK economy and here in Ghana. And I was only this morning seeing some of the entrepreneurs you have here and the expansion of jobs that they want to create here in the economy. And our long history of supporting your endeavours is what we're going to continue to do. And I think that we can, achieve great things together. And the fact that the UK government is aligned on growth and your government is focused on growth to create good jobs for people so their living standards are improved is exactly what we're trying to achieve as well. So we will be there as a friend, as we always have been, to support and to make sure that both our economies can grow and that people on the ground really see that and that they're able to get the jobs that fulfil their family life, and that's what we want to achieve.
Deputy UK Prime Minister Angela Rayner. The Association of Road Contractors says government owes road contractors approximately 4.7 billion Ghana cedis. According to the association, the previous administration failed to honor its debt obligations to road contractors, resulting in a cumulative debt of around 4.7 billion cedis. In an interview with Citi News, chairman of the association, John Afo, stated that members are struggling due to the debt, which has rendered them inactive.
We are really suffering. As you're all aware, the issue is one major thing, payment of contract. What the previous government has left behind is so huge. If you look at only the road fund secretariat, there's as much as 4.7 billion left behind as debt to contractors. And I think His Excellency John Mahama has made it a priority. There are a whole lot of roads that are in a deplorable state, and they will have to be repaired. And before they are repaired, the contractors will have to be paid. I was so surprised and happy as well that the president yesterday told Labour that there was a lot of waste in the system. And it is very true. That is going to them. There are a lot of arrears at the construction industry. Government should think about that.
Well, Jonafo also attributed the debt to excessive government spending and urged the Mahama administration to settle the arrears.
What is wrong with us? The waste is too much. We should think of those who are producing for this country very well and pay them. The government owes us just too much money. And if it is not paid, there is no way Mahama's government is going to improve upon the development in this country. It's very important. I expect His Excellency John Mahama to look at that for us. So my plea is that they should stop all these monies that go to waste to be used to pay contracts. That is what we're talking about.
We had the chairman of the Association of Road Contractors, John Afo. The Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, says it is investigating a shooting incident at the Sogakope Customs checkpoint on Wednesday, which left a bystander injured. In a statement issued yesterday, the GRA assured the public that a full-scale investigation is underway to determine the circumstances surrounding this incident. According to the statement, custom officers at the checkpoint received intelligence about a suspected uncustomed vehicle being smuggled into Ghana from Togo. As officers attempted to intercept this vehicle, the occupants abandoned it and fled. The officers then fired warning shots to stop them, but a bystander was reportedly hit by a stray bullet a few meters from the checkpoint. The injured individual was rushed to the Sogakope Komboni Hospital and is responding to treatment. While expressing sympathy for the affected persons, the Ghana Revenue Authority reaffirmed its commitment to ensuring the safety and security of all stakeholders. Now, Ghanaian medical students on government scholarship in Cuba are lamenting the non-payment of their stipends for the past 10 months. The students say the situation is making life difficult as they live on the benevolence of colleagues and friends. They explain that the Scholarship Secretariat has on various occasions assured that monies will be released, but that is yet to happen. While speaking to City News on condition of anonymity, one of the students said access to basic needs has become a challenge and are hopeful the new government will act on their concerns.
If there was any place beyond hell, I think that would be the right word I would have used to describe our situation here in Cuba, because it's unimaginable. And bear in mind, Cuba isn't like most countries where most students are able to work alongside their studies. And the rules and regulations here in Cuba are so strict that if you are found trying to indulge yourself in any form of working activities, you will be dealt with by the Cuban government. So you can't even think of trying to work. Therefore, our only source of income here in Cuba is dependent on our government stipends that we receive.
You heard a Ghanaian medical student in Cuba speaking on condition of anonymity. The Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs, ASEPA, is calling for reforms to streamline the operations and relationship between the judiciary and legislative arms of government. ASEPA believes such reforms will guide the process by which members of parliament are served and are required to appear before the law court. Now, in reaction to the bench warrant issued for the arrest of the Member of Parliament for Akwatia, Ernest Kumi, Executive Director for ASEPA, Dr. Rashid Rahman, says the legislative body and the Speaker of Parliament should have been notified.
In the area of the relationship between the judiciary and the legislature, over the years, Parliament has been trying to see how this relationship can be streamlined. I mean, when Parliament and its members can be served, when they can go to court, so on. There needs to be a way to ensure that even when members of parliament are faulty of the laws that they pass themselves, a kind of institutionalized mechanism is developed. The Right Honorable Speaker is informed, the parliamentary administration is informed, and then this will be done in a way that doesn't create drama as we are seeing right now. Essentially, I think the leadership has to work together to ensure that this relationship with the judiciary is streamlined.
Rashid Rahman further cautioned members of parliament to be mindful of their actions and urged the Akwatia MP to present himself before court.
This is a lesson to parliament. I mean, we have to be careful, and members of parliament have to be careful about the kind of precedent that they set. Actions that they take sometimes that have the tendency to undermine the institution that they belong to. Because today you might be in the majority, tomorrow you might be in the minority. I think the honorable member has to go and answer for whatever questions that the court have for him.
Executive Director of the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs, ASEPA, Dr. Rashid Rahman. Now, calm has returned to Zabzgu in the northern region following yesterday's clash in the area between Samdagumbas and Kokumbas. The clash happened in the community of Kuntumbili, leading to the death and injuries of some people. Security quickly intervened to prevent escalation to other parts of the region. Now, Regional Security Council, RECSEC, led by the Regional Minister Ali Adolf, is currently in the area to calm situations. Meanwhile, the injured are receiving treatment at the hospital and the dead have since been buried. And that will be all for today's edition of the Citi Prime News, which came to you live from our studio in Accra. For more news, please log on to citynewsroom.com. I am Adwoa Tenkoramaa Domena. Many thanks for your company. Good afternoon.
City News. We speak first. Reach our hotline on 0302 224959 and get interactive on Facebook, City 97.3 FM, and on Twitter at City 973. This March, we invite you to splash in the pool of cultural expressivity and soak yourself in the celebration of indigenous authenticity in our Heritage Month. Join us for the Heritage Month launch